Hello, guys. Welcome back to our series of N8N. After getting an idea of what the three workflows are gonna be from the previous video, let's dive deep into the first workflow, that is RAG pipeline and chatbot. And in this, we're gonna be using mainly four tools, that is Pinecone, Google Drive, Sheet, Docs, and OpenRouter. But before starting with the workflow, let's first understand what is RAG, the retrieval augmented generation. So, ever wondered how ChatGPT works? It is exactly what it is based on, RAG. Suppose you wanna know some information from the web. What I would do is go on Google, search something, and then I would get to know something. And that I would write you as a text. So what I'm doing is retrieving the information and generating back to you in the form of some text in my own words. So this is what most of the AI models and workflows are based on. It retrieves the most relevant information first, and then it passes on to the AI model. The AI model processes that stuff and gives it back to you in form of generated content. So this is how it works. And you know what? Another important concept to understand in this is the vector databases. Suppose the LLM is given some set of words and it is meant to generate something meaningful. What it does, it converts the words into something called as vectors, and that is numbers because computers cannot interpret words, they just understand numbers. So the words are converted into some numbers and they are accordingly mapped on a graph like this. So when you see a sparrow, it will be grouped together with a cat, dog, wolf, because of course they are all animals. So the LLM tries to interpret it, to understand what it is, to mean it something. It understand its meaning, not just it reads the words, but it understands it. So we can think of a library which stores not just the books, but the meanings, but the meanings of those words. So, so when the LLM encounters something like orange, it knows that it's a fruit and it's gonna be grouped together with mango and apple because they all are fruits. So this is how it works, and understand the essence of statements and words, and not just memorize it or learn it word to word. That's why LLMs are pretty good at understanding customized contents and generating a customized response accordingly because they get the meaning and not the literal word itself. So let me walk you through quickly about how is the process of AI workflows. So suppose there is a query that's being inputted by the user. What happens is it goes through an embedding model. An embedding model is nothing but a model that converts the words into vectors. And these vectors are used to mean something, to make the LLM understand that it has some meaning. And these vectors, after being produced by the embedding model, are then sent to a big vector database, like Pinecone. Pinecone is the one that we're going to be using as a vector database in our workflow. And then the relevant data is stored. The same data is then passed on to the LLM, like we see here, and then some response is produced. So this is how the workflow goes like. And this one is especially the workflow when the input happens to be some text or statement that's coming from a user. But what if we want to input some document or some pre-made file that's already being present on the Google Drive or some other platforms? So in that case, the data is prepared in some file or text, or some docs, then it is sent to extract the information. It can be done by any other any other platforms or tools out there. It doesn't necessarily happen to be in NNN. And there then goes on to chunking. We're learning in this workflow that every single text that we input from the Google Drive is chunked into some sort of paragraphs, so that it just becomes easy for the LLM to process it. It helps in better retrieval of the parts that we feel are relevant than the others. So after chunking, it goes to the embedding model. The embedding model does the same of turning the words into a converted format of numbers and vectors. Then the vectors are sent on the vector database, which then goes on relevant data, it goes under relevant data into LLMs, and then it produces a response. So that's how it goes like. But most of the stuff that's happening over here is pretty complex when you go on to deal with it on Google Cloud or Pinecone. So stick along, I'll teach you about how you can walk through each of these steps and actually be able to execute it all by yourself. Till then, stick along, I'll see you in the next video.